She stood by the doorway, her voice trembling as she whispered, "It's okay, I'll go." Her words were soft, but they carried the weight of heartbreak, the kind that comes when you've given everything and still feel like you don't belong. For a moment, silence hung heavy in the room, broken only when he finally spoke. The CEO, known for his cold logic and sharp decisions, looked at her with something rare in his eyes, something human. "No," he said firmly, his voice cracking just slightly, "it's not okay." Maya had worked in his company for 3 years. She wasn't from wealth or privilege, she was a single mother who balanced late-night shifts, daycare pickups, and the never-ending demands of life. When she first joined, no one noticed her. She was just another assistant, the kind people passed by without learning her name. But she was determined, hardworking, and quietly strong. The CEO, Daniel Grant, had noticed her persistence, though he rarely showed it. He admired her ability to keep going, even when exhaustion shadowed her eyes. The day that changed everything began with a mistake. A shipment worth millions had gone missing due to a misfiled order. The blame fell on Maya, even though she had been covering for a colleague who had slipped away early. In the boardroom, whispers turned into accusations. People pointed fingers, eager to protect themselves. And Maya, too tired to fight, too used to carrying burdens that weren't hers, simply lowered her head and said, "It's okay, I'll go." She thought resigning would fix everything. After all, she had always learned to step aside quietly when life became too heavy. But Daniel couldn't let her walk away. He remembered the day he saw her staying late, holding her little boy's hand as she typed one-handed at her desk. He remembered the kindness she showed everyone, even when no one returned it. He remembered the moments she saved projects without asking for credit. She wasn't just another employee, she was someone who mattered. And for once, he wasn't willing to let the world chew up someone good and spit them out. He stood from his chair, shocking the entire boardroom. "No, it's not okay," he said, his tone cutting through the cold air. "She's not leaving." Everyone fell silent. Daniel rarely raised his voice, but this time, he did. "Do you know how many times she's fixed our mistakes? Do you know how many nights she's worked when the rest of you were sleeping? She's not the problem here. She's the reason we're still standing." Maya's eyes filled with tears, not from weakness, but from the sheer shock of being defended, truly seen, for the first time in years. No one had ever fought for her like this. She wasn't sure whether to cry or to thank him, but her voice caught in her throat. Daniel walked over and placed a folder on the table. It contained proof. The mistake hadn't been hers. It belonged to the very colleague who had stayed silent as she took the blame. The board shifted uncomfortably, guilt flashing across their faces. But Daniel wasn't done. "If this company has room for liars and cowards," he said, looking around the table, "then it damn well has room for people like Maya. People who give everything they have, even when no one notices. She stays. That's final." When the meeting ended, Maya tried to gather her things quietly, still shaken. Daniel stopped her. "You don't get to carry everything alone anymore," he said gently. "You matter here, and if you ever feel like walking away again, remember, sometimes the world needs people like you more than you realize." For the first time in a long time, she smiled, not because her struggles had vanished, but because someone finally saw her worth. The burden she carried felt a little lighter, and in that moment, she realized that kindness, when spoken with courage, could change everything. The story spread quietly through the company. People began treating her with respect, not because of her title, but because they finally understood what it meant to value someone's heart and effort. And Maya, who once thought her only option was to step aside, learned that sometimes, standing your ground could inspire others to do the same. By the end, she didn't just find security in her job, she found dignity, strength, and the reminder that no matter how small you feel in this world, you deserve to be seen. And Daniel, the CEO who once lived by numbers and contracts, found something far more valuable: the courage to put humanity above business. Because sometimes, a single, "No, it's not okay," is exactly what it takes to remind someone that they matter. Do you want me to also shape this into a YouTube-style narration script, with hooks and pacing cues, so it feels natural for a 4-minute video?